Hello folks, Dom Lawson here from Metal Hammer Magazine. It's a lovely sunny day, so I'm stuck inside as usual. Well, I wasn't yesterday, was I? Don't even know why I say these things sometimes. Anyway, um, yeah, so obviously there's been a fairly major news story in the world of metal and rock-related behaviour today, and I suspect that what's been on most people's minds is not so much why has Sonisphere been cancelled, but I imagine people are sitting around going, yeah, but what does Dom Lawson think about the cancellation of Sonisphere? That's the important thing. So obviously I'm going to waffle on aimlessly about the whole thing for 10 minutes, and then thus enriching your lives with pearls of wisdom or shite, depending on which way you look at it. Combination of the two, probably. It's sad, really. It is a terrible shame. I think Sonisphere is a great festival, so on a very superficial level, it's just a real shame that it's not happening. That it's one of the strengths of our scene, for want of a better word, at this point, is that over the last few years the number of festivals has increased, and so the summer now, rather than as it used to be, we just download and that was pretty much it. And Bloodstock, now we had 3 festivals and lots of other little events cropping up here and there. So the festival kind of landscape has improved greatly over the last few years. Especially since the Reading Festival started really sucking badly. But this is a bit of a strange one. I mean, from everything that I saw, I only went to one day of Sonisphere last year, but I mean it was rammed, and it was a really seemed to be a really well run festival and awesome, with a great lineup, and I guess that the organisers probably felt that this year would be the same, and I'm not, I don't know, I guess it's. Is it poor ticket sales? That's the thing. People are going to kind of assume that the reason it's been cancelled is because they've not been selling enough tickets. And there aren't many other, plausible reasons why a major festival of this kind would cancel. Now, I could be wrong, and apologies to anyone at Sonisphere if I am, but I suspect it's the financial demands of such a thing, necessitate a certain level of sales by this point of the year, and if it's not happening, then obviously you can't afford to pay the acts that you've booked, and for everything else. But I guess then I suppose you then have to analyse why were people not buying tickets, I mean, downloads I'd fully expect to be sold out this year, and I think that that's pretty obvious why. They've got Metallica playing the Black Album for the first time all the way through in the UK. Black Sabbath, hopefully, if Tony Iommi is well enough to perform, then they're close to the original lineup of Black Sabbath, presumably Vinny from Heaven and Hell, the Mob Rules album will be playing drums for them. Otherwise, but certainly close as damn it, Black Sabbath headlining. And I think Download have got the balance right this year, with the Prodigy headlining the first night. I think, with lots of other metal stuff going on that day, I think, it is genuinely a case of something for everybody. And I just wonder if the Sonisphere lineup, I don't know, I mean, because I did this, I did an Iron Sandwich on the Sonisphere lineup, and I think, my argument was pretty much that who doesn't like Kiss? They're amazing. And who doesn't like Faith No More? Only weird, smelly people that hang around school gates, and the only kind of problem, I guess, that I could see with the headliners was the Queen thing. Now, I think I again, anybody who doesn't like Queen needs to have their head checked, really, because Queen were fantastic, and I won't accept any other opinion, really. But obviously, Brian May and Roger Taylor plus some vast bell end off an American talent show, who as much as he may be someone who embodies the spirit of Freddie Mercury, which is shorthand for he's a bit camp, which is like, if you can reduce Freddie Mercury's appeal down to, well, he was a bit camp, wasn't he? Then you're kind of missing the point, because he was the greatest frontman of all time, really. But were people sufficiently put off by the prospect of seeing Adam Lambert performing with Queen? I find that hard to believe, really. And I think if you look at the rest of the Sonisphere lineup, as it was, there was tons of really cool stuff happening. And I've seen a couple of news reports where people have mentioned Queen and The Darkness were playing and whatever else. And I just think, aside from the fact that people who don't like Queen or The Darkness are probably a bit weird, but even if you don't, and it's fair enough, each to their own and all that, those are bands that are going to be perfect for a festival, and they're going to play songs that the majority of open-minded rock fans would enjoy if they were standing in a field with a pint in their hand, and you just kind of think, well, are we now so spoiled for choice, because there are countless festivals across Europe and across the UK, that people are going to stamp their foot and go, well, I'm not going because there's one band on that they don't like. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that's the case. And it may just be the current economic climate. I mean, don't blame me. I didn't vote them in. But this rather pitiful excuse for a government that we have at the moment is not really doing a lot to make people feel secure about their financial situation. And so, investing in, especially if you're, I have absolutely sod all money myself, and I'm very lucky that I get into these things for free. But if I was, going, if I had to pay to get into a festival this summer, I would struggle to buy one ticket, let alone 3 or 4, because they're expensive things, festivals, and obviously they are good value for money. I think you buy a download ticket and you're definitely getting your money's worth, unless you're a miserable sod and you don't, you make a point of not enjoying yourself for some reason. But I think that it's a shitty time for people money wise, and so if you're going to choose between Sonisphere and download, which I guess a lot of people would have to do, because you're talking a couple of £100, and all your beer money on top of that, and accommodation if you don't want to slum it, or whatever, it's going to put people off, and I think download have the better lineup this year, but that's just from my personal point of view, my personal taste in music. It's a marginal thing. I think if I made a list of the bands that were on the Sonisphere lineup that I liked, against the bands that download, there's not that much difference. It's just I think the download's headliners were a bit more kind of historic in some way, I suppose. As brilliant as Kiss are, they're going to tour anyway. But the chances of seeing Black Sabbath and Metallica doing the Black Album are fairly slim after the download, really. So, but I don't know. It's a weird one. I think I should be at Download and I should be at Bloodstock this year. And I think both lineups are terrific, and they haven't even announced a big headliner for Bloodstock yet, but I'm sure we can all guess who that is. But it's cancelling a big festival like Sonisphere it's kind of embarrassing for the organisers, obviously, because they wanted, it's such a big event, and if it's just some poxy festival, some one dayer in a pub in Canterbury, then obviously you're not, you cancel it and people kind of go, oh, all right, we'll go down the pub instead. But this is like a big weekend, and people have made plans and booked hotels and bought new tents, or so it's a bit of a kick in the teeth for the organisers, really, that they've had to cancel it. If it's not ticket sales, then maybe it's something else, but presumably it's financial. So I guess we can assume it is. I don't know. A combination of, it's probably just circumstances conspiring to ruin it, really, and it is a shame, because I think the lineup was good, But that said, that the download lineup is phenomenal. So if you're, if you had a ticket for Sonisphere and weren't thinking of going to download, you get your refund. Get a ticket for download, come and join the party, because it's going to be amazing. Despite the fact that Oath aren't playing this year, which I think is a terrible tragedy, and we were obviously one of the highlights last year. That's the first and only time I'll support Def Leppard, so that was a golden moment in my life. But, what can I say? It's a shame, and I guess you can blame any number of things, but realistically, I think the most likely outcome is that people weren't buying tickets because people haven't got enough money. And there are so many festivals now available that people are spoilt for choice. There's a reason why Glastonbury took a year off, and some other, I think one of the big dance festivals has been cancelled as well. You just think, well, yeah, maybe that's the answer. Do it a couple of years and then have a year off. to give people a chance to do something else with their cash in the summer. But for those of us who like going to festivals and would rather spend the money on that than a holiday, I think it's a bummer, because that was going to be fun, wasn't it? Anyway, I'm waffling inanely now, so sorry folks. That's what I do. Yeah, Sonisphere, bit of a pisser, really. Let's all blame Adam Lambert. That's my suggestion. I think we should all send dead rats or poo or something in the post to Adam Lambert with a little note saying, yeah, thanks for that. You ruined our festival, you slightly camp talent show contest winning git, or something. Don't actually do that, of course. I don't want to get into trouble. I'm not responsible for. I don't want to be responsible for encouraging people to send poo in the mail to anybody, really. That would be a really awful thing to do. But if somebody happens to see Adam Lambert on the street, do tell him he's a twat, because it's all his fault, really, isn't it? It's like he killed Christmas or something, but it's Sonisphere, not Christmas. So not quite as important, but or maybe more important, I don't know. Too much coffee today, folks. There you go. I'm going to go and have a fag. So, right. Thanks for watching this drivel. I don't think we've learnt anything from it, except that I've got nothing interesting to say about Sonisphere being cancelled. So, thanks for watching, and bon voyage.